Good morning, children. To continue the lesson that we have started 3 days back. In the last period, we have seen that finally the dilemma of Dr. Sadao and Hannah was resolved, and they have taken the decision to take the enemy, the white man, the seller, the US seller, to take a home and give the treatment. So now they have taken this man to the house, and when they took this man to the house, they had taken him into the room of Dr. Sadao's father. Now, coming to the Dr. Sadao's father, he was a very much Japanese nationalist, and due to that, everything that was kept in his room that was made in Japan, everything was Japanese, a complete Japanese setup, and not a single thing was foreign made. And in such kind of room, a foreigner had come or shelter. So actually, this is very suggestive that how the situation crosses the boundaries that is created by the human being, and the humanity that is shown by Hannah and Dr. Sadao here to treat the enemy, to give the treatment to the enemy, to save the life of enemy. So that is beyond any kind of nationalism, beyond any kind of racism, beyond any kind of ideology that gives you the flavor of attachment to something. So humanity is the broader ideology than any other nationalism or racism or commitment to the religion or commitment to any kind of caste or sex or anything else that you feel that you belong to. So that is the humanity that you belong to. So this man is taken to the room of uh, Sadao's father. So we could see here everything is Japanese there in his room. Nothing was imported, and there in his room there were quilts, white soft silken quilt, and they were flower decorated by the flower embroidery. So soft, silky, white quilts were there. So these quilts were also ruined by the blood of this white man. The floor in the room that was deeply matted floor. So all these things were ruined. Ruined means spoiled, as the person has taken there, and a surgery was done. Later we will see that how the surgery is done there. So because of the bleeding, that floor, the used quilts, so they were all ruined, which is purely Japan's. So the blood of American soldier ruins the Japanese soft silk quilt and deep matted floor. See how the writer writes the things. So remember, children, that I in the introduction I told you that this novel was published just 1 year after the attack on the Pearl Harbor. So Pearl Harbor was the first place where the Japan have attacked this the place belonged to America, and it is believed that when Japan attacked this Pearl Harbor, so all the soldiers and the families and the children were there in sleep, deep sleep. So it was a kind of covert attack. So it is believed like this. So that is why here it is suggested that the blood of the American that is now ruining the floor of Japan, the floor of Dr. Sadao's father. So this was ruined, and the presence of white man in the Japan, or the treatment that would be given by Dr. Sadao, so that would be a humanitarian later. I will see the next part. I want to say now the surgery is required by an operation is required to this patient to save him. So that is why Dr. Sadao had thought of washing this man and asked Hannah to bring the hot water. But Hannah, refused it and refused not to have bring the hot water. Refused that she didn't allow Dr. Sadao to wash this man because they have their own feeling of superiority. So they feel they're themselves superior to the white man. So they should not wash the man inferior to them. So this feeling of superiority, this feeling of racism was still there, even though they were helping this man, or saving the life of this man. Still, that feeling of superiority was there. Still, that racism was there. So instead, Hannah had told that she would ask Yumi to wash him. So Yumi is actually a maid servant in the house of Dr. Sadao, who is playing the role of matron here, who looks after the children and even other household works in the house. So better to ask her to wash this white man. So Hannah could not tolerate that Dr. Sadao would wash. But Hannah shouted, she gave Yumi. Yumi gave a very fierce look of resistance to Hannah, and this made Hannah very frightened. She thought that such kind of refusal may turn against her and Dr. Sadao and these servants. Even Yumi also may report to the police, giving giving shelter to white man by Dr. Sadao. So this fear Hannah was having, and when she realized it, she became again calm and composed, and silently she just explained her intention, that as they have decided to explain it, that their intention is to just give the treatment to the man and then hand over to the police. So this was her intention. Hannah silently spoke, but when she refused it, she asked her to go to return to her work. Further, Yumi said that when she explained it, that Yumi said that I am a poor person and I have nothing to do with this, all these things. So she doesn't want to get involved in such kind of business where vitamin E or shelter. She would be involved because it would be also dangerous for Yumi, and she could not, she is not as important as Dr. Sadao is there, because Dr. Sadao was the chief surgeon of Japanese army, and Yumi was a very poor person, so she could understand her limitations, and she said that I'm a poor person and I have nothing to do with it, so do whatever you want. This is what exactly she wanted to say to Hannah. Later, when Yumi has refused to wash the white man, Hannah herself washed. In the presentation here, Yumi is given, it should be Hannah. So Hannah washed this white man finally. But while washing, she had the mixed feeling. She disliked it. She hated this man, saying that why she need to wash this man, and she has the disgusting feeling towards this man, and called this man an enemy. And when she was alone there, and she has to unbutton the shirts of this white man and turn him back. So she gets very angry with this man. So this and at the same time, she was touching a man who is lower in the race, as compared to their race. So this feeling of superiority is also there. So such kind of negative feeling that she had towards the white man also there. And eventually, when she unbuttoned the white man and had seen the blonde skin of this white man, it was like a child. So it seems her, this man, like a child, like a very young child, and that motherly affection aroused in her, and eventually she developed likeness, this childlike appearance of this white man. So at the same time, you could see the flavor of racism in Hannah, who did not allow Dr. Sadao to wash. Yumi's refusal is also kind of racism, and the feeling of disgust and anger towards the white man while washing. Um, that shows that the very rigid racism was there among the Japanese people, Japanese character. So this was an example given by them. But still, though they were Japanese, before that they are human. So in every human being, there used to be the human instinct of love and kindness. Remember the chapter of Nelson Mandela that you studied in 10th class, that love is natural to man, hatred is learned. So here she felt, as out of need, she felt it impulsive to wash this man. uh, so she washed it, and she also developed the kindness and likeness over the white man's appearance of child, his childlike skin. So this was about the wash of white man. Now the servants, those were informed by Dr. Sadao how they reacted when Dr. Sadao and Hannah brought this man into the house. So they were shocked, they were frightened, though they opposed it. Okay, they were definitely against this stand of Dr. Sadao, and but they were shocked that how Dr. Sadao and Hannah could bring this man into the house, the white man into the house, the enemy in the house, and at the same time they were also frightened. Now, what will happen? The consequence, thinking of consequences of this act. So they were also frightened, and they also thought that what white man should not be saved at all, because the gardener, no, there the old gardener was there. So very old servant at the time of his father also, right from the time of the Dr. Sadao's father. He had been there serving this family, Sadao's family. So this gardener, he said that the nature himself has punished this white man. First he was shot by the bullet of gun, then he was caught by the sun as a sea, and the rocks has torn him. It means that he considered it that it was the punishment by nature to this white man for the sins that they have done towards the Japan or something like this. So he felt that if this man is saved, the nature will take revenge on them. Not only Dr. Sadao, so on them, because all they had the role there in this scene. So they were witness. So witnessing a crime is as the same kind of crime. So it's same kind of sin that is believed like this. So he thought that, even all the servants thought that the nature will take revenge upon them. So this is what the servants stand, and they thought that the man ought to die. He should not be alive. He should not be saved. He ought to die. This is the stand of all the servants of Dr. Sadao. Even the cook was having the same opinion. Yumi also, though they did not say, they were having this feeling towards the act of sheltering the white man. Now, when Dr. Sadao has decided to take the surgery, he was about to inform the servant, but how he is absorbed in his work, that he, before informing the servant, he stopped and checked the white man, uh, seeing him in a very severe condition. There was utter pallor on his face, and he was in unconscious state. His When he checked his pulse, it was very weak. He checked his heartbeats also, and that shows that his heart alive only, otherwise everything was dead, nearly dead. So he felt that there is an urgent need of operation, there is an urgent need of surgery, otherwise this man will die. So he has taken the decision to operate, to have the surgery over this man, and had brought all the surgical paraphernalia there. Paraphernalia means all the things, tools required for surgery, that is scissor and blades and the napkins and the injections, whatever the medicines and the other things, the blade, so surgical, the coats, surgical apron, surgical, that specs, gloves and hat and everything. All these tools all together called as paraphernalia. So he had brought that surgical paraphernalia there, and before this surgery, he has also thought of the death if it would come while doing the surgery, then what to do. But as it was his doctor's work, his intent to save his life, he get leave of this idea. And even he said that even uh, if he is saved now, after that also he has to die, because they are going to hand over this man to the police. So that is why um, he need not to bother about his death, even if it happens in surgery. So this is what Hannah and Dr. Sadao has discussed and considered it. Let us see uh, further what happens. So Dr. Sadao now, while doing surgery, he had started surgery. So how he was completely engrossed. Dr. Sadao, it was the Dr. Sadao. We forget everything while doing the surgery. His complete focus, complete concentration on the patient and the surgery in the work that is he is doing. So while speaking with Hannah while doing the surgery and preparing the surgery, it seems that he is not at all hearing Hannah. What Hannah was saying, he did not listen. This is what is seemed, and very cautiously, very carefully, he is checking that injury. Uh, and he felt now that that time that the bullet was still there. So when he was shot by the gun, the bullet was not taken out. So still in his body, the bullet was there when he checked it deep into the injury with his finger or other tools. So he felt that bullet is still there, and he also got in checking the exact location of that bullet. It was near kidney, not almost near kidney, but near kidney. Uh, he had got. So he asked Hannah for anesthetic also, because anesthetic is required to take out that bullet and doing the surgery, so that that soldier should not feel the pain, and he should not shiver and tremble, and jerk would not get while doing the surgery. So that may hamper the uh, work of surgery. So anesthetic is required. That is why he asked Hannah to give anesthetic. But Hannah had never given anesthetic here before. So while giving this anesthetic, she felt that choking. She felt vomiting when she saw the blood coming out, and that then cut part of body. She felt choking, vomiting. So and the color of sulfur came on his on her face, and Dr. Sadao warned her that not to get faint, because he cannot afford her being faint. He cannot stop this surgery, and if he stops the surgery, this may be very dangerous for this white man's life. So he doesn't want. So he warned Hannah not to faint. So, and while doing surgery, when he was getting that bullet, so every now and then he used to say, my friend, I'm not doing for this my own sake, okay, I'm doing for your life. So my friend, he used to say, actually it is his habit. He's habitual of saying friend while doing surgery to his patient. And while saying friend, he has completely forgotten that this soldier is his enemy and not friend. But still, he is saying friend. That is what is natural comes, natural love comes in the heart of human being. So he says, my friend. And here, Hannah also has the opinion that he said that whoever the person is, it's just a body for Dr. Sadao. It doesn't matter whether it is his friend, relative, or an enemy. So that doesn't matter for him. It's just a body upon which he is working. He is doing surgery. So that is what Dr. Sadao is. Very, very committed to his work. Very much absorbed to his work. Devoted doctor. Very committed doctor. Honest and sincere doctor. And expert also. Mm. So he has taken finally the bullet out, and when he has taken the bullet out, he checked the pulse, his pulse, the patient's pulse again. It was felt feeble, very weak. So to strengthen it, to strengthen the heartbeat, he had given him injection also. So The surgery was over, and he felt very relieved after surgery. Till here, that we could interpret the part like this, that there was a prejudiced hatred towards the enemy in Hannah, Dr. Sadao, and all other character we have seen so far. So Hannah's feeling of his own superiority, and time to time, Dr. Sadao and Hannah and other characters also, they were mentioning this white man as disgusting one, as dirty one, as foolish one, stupid one, and they were calling the enemy to this man again and again. So this was the prejudiced feeling that they were having towards the white man. Dr. Sadao also thinks he should not leave along with the servants, even Hannah also. They all thinking that this white man should not live, but the human instinct and the innate nature of human being as a doctor to save one's life, that feeling, that inner conscience, that things always right and wrong. So that forces Dr. Sadao and Hannah to give treatment, to have the surgery, and to save the life of the man. So these two different feelings were there. One, that she is the white man as an enemy, dirty, stupid, and inferior, and another is that as a human being, as a doctor, to say it is his duty to save a man, to help a needy man, helpless man. So these two different self, there was a conflict between these two self. There was a conflict. And in between, Dr. Sadao get impatient also, very irritable with the man when he was unable to attend Hannah when she was vomiting outside because of this operation. At another side, we also have that they have the deep feel of sympathy towards the wounded man. So Dr. Sadao was not able to understand, not even Hannah was able to understand why they were saving the man. Though they were saving it, so he was not understanding that why they were doing this, and he had taken utmost care while doing surgery. He had considered that what would happen when if the patient will die while doing surgery, and the patient should not die in the surgery. So all the care were taken. Anesthesia was given to him, and the he could not stop the work in between. All the paraphernalia was bought. So the location he had very intently had seen and found it. So he forgot this man as an enemy and called his friend. So and he felt very relieved after this successful surgery. So these two kinds of self and the conflict, the dilemma, the fight between the prejudiced self and the fight between and the natural self of being a human, being a doctor. He had We could see in there. We could also see that in Hannah, not only Dr. Sadao, in Hannah also there was the feeling of humanity, the feeling of kindness, sympathy towards this wounded and dying man. Hannah washed. It could be seen that through that Hannah washed this white man herself, and she felt like mother when she saw the blonde skin of this white man and the piteous face of this man. Piteous means very sacred, holy face of this man. She felt when she saw the face of this white man, and she felt very kind when she saw the scars. One more thing that shows very explicitly, very clearly, that in Hannah, in inner, she was very kind and sympathetic, a human being. That when she saw the scars on the neck of this white man, uh, she hoped that she remembered that how the prisoners of war, they were brutally tortured. The stories of brutal torture of such kind of prisoner of war she heard many a times, and she hoped that such kind of torture had not been done with this white man. She thought that. And she also thought that of General Takima, who was the chief general of this Japanese army, who was very cruel, who very often beats his wife at home. So if he's so that cruel towards the wife, how much cruel he could be towards the prisoner of war. She could just imagine it, but still hope that this man has not gone such kind of torture. She has also thought of the false glorification of the victories that Japan was having at that time, and in the media Japan was welcomed. In the media it was shown that Japan was welcome everywhere, and the countries that they won from the Britishers and the Western countries. Actually, the Asian countries, they were picking, they were taking over by defeating the Western countries who were ruling earlier there. So it was a kind of liberation. Japan thought like this. It was Japan's media idea that they are liberating the Asian countries from the Western rule. So for that, the media used to glorify this victory of Japan. But the rule, whether it is Japan's rule or the Western countries' rule, for the Asian countries, it will be the same. So it is a false glorification. Hannah understands it. Hannah understands it. So here, mm, this could be understood by Hannah, and this shows that Hannah was a very, very kind woman, uh, and who thought about the white man that he could not have been tortured like the prisoner of war, others prisoners of war. This was the end of your lesson for today. I hope that you have understood. And the further part of the story we will see later. Thank you. Have a nice day.